You know, and then so how do we pick which one? The pitches to choose from end up being C, E flat, and A flat. E, F, and A flat, which are half steps away from notes in the hex, but C is a whole step. So I have 4 notes that end up that are not in the original hex. You everybody follow me? Because this A, the A is already in the hex, right? So I can't add A, right? Okay. And on the bottom, I can't add G, can I? Because I already have G, right? So if I add up the other duplicated pitches, I've got an E and an F here, and I've got a C and an A flat, right? So those are my extra pitches. And how do I pick which one that I want to add? Okay, I want more chromaticism, so I add a half step. I add the E, F, or A flat because those are half steps away from more notes in the hex. I could add a C, but that gives me like a C to a D. That gives me a whole step. So now I'm choosing which is the 7th note that I want. You all following me how I'm doing that? Okay, I can pick which one I want. We can do the same thing in C major. It's the same idea. If you take C major and you stack the fifths and you duplicate them, on the top you only get 1 duplicated pitch. That's F sharp. It's the only duplicated pitch when you stack fifths. On the bottom you only get 1, is B flat. Now we all know that if you're writing in C major and you want more brightness, what do you add? You add F sharp, right? Then you get Lydian sound, right? You got some more chromaticism. If you add a B flat, you start to become like a dominant chord, right? Become like a C7 chord, which means it's moving to someplace else. So just intuitively, we can see that by adding the higher fifth in this chord, we get more brightness, and adding the lower fifth, we get more stability. So that's the same thing with the hex I have, right? If I want more brightness, I'd add one of the notes that are doubled in the top fifths. Right? I had E or F. If I wanted more stability, I would add the C or the A flat. Now, I can add them and then I can always change them. You know, I can add them all if I want. You know what I mean? I don't have to just do 7. I can add all the notes to it. I can add E and F and C and A flat. I can add everything, you know. But something about keeping it down to 6 or 7 notes, for me, I like. Because it gives me a nice little tight little package to work with. Okay, so the last example is went over this blah, 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 blah. I'm going to play this piece for you. I added a 7th note. I added the C natural. And we have all sorts of different modulations. The first one, first whole page is in the first scale, right? It's the first hex, right? We added a C natural. Then here, the second one is scale 1. Scale 2 comes in over here, right? I modulate there. That is still 2. 3 comes in on this second section, and then the last one we go back to the home key again. And this is for woodwind quintet, and it features each of the instruments. Okay. And then we will build one. If you build them, they will come. Isn't that what they say? that gives you some ideas. Okay, let's build a hex. Let's build a hex. Does everybody have paper and pencils? So we'll, what kind of hex do we want to build? What do we want? What notes? Give me some notes. Somebody?
Do you have to think of triad, or can you just be notes?
Give me any notes.
C, D, E, F. Actually, do what? I was thinking of what would happen. Now, what would happen if you did a chromatic scale from C, like just the first 6 notes of the chromatic scale?
Okay, C.
C sharp, D, E
Right,
flat,
let's see if I
E,
can
F.
do this in finale here.
No, you're a happy guy, aren't you?
No. Major 7.
Okay, everybody write that on their piece of paper too, right? Please.
What did he say?
He said like chromatic
Oh, C, C sharp, D, D sharp.
Right, so we've got. Right? Okay, so that's our 7 notes. I'm sorry, 6 notes. I'm going to bring it down an octave, just to make it a little bit easier. Okay, good. So that gives us our 6 notes. Now let's. It's hard to do in finale without. I don't have this connected to MIDI. But let's build this. I wish I had a whiteboard. Well, I'll make it happen. So let's build the chord. Okay, let's build these chords and see what kind of chords we have in this hexachord. So what comes after C? G. No, there is no G. There is no G.
So we got D.
Right, there's D. There is no D. I mean, there's D.
Why go up in fifths? There are no fifths in this whole thing, so why?
Because that gives us the harmonic environment. It's just sort of the way to do it. Yeah, I mean it's. I mean you could choose and you want to get through all the notes anyway.
Why not thirds, since we're used to tertia and harmony, or fourths?
Well, let's say we go up by fourths. If we go up by fourths, it's still what force do we have in here? Let's say if we go up by fourths, it's going to end up being the same notes, really. We're just stacking. We're stacking the 6 notes. The 6
You're
notes
not
aren't
talking
changing.
about perfect fifths. You're talking about 5 notes away.
Right.
Just every fifth. note.
Every fifth. It's not perfect fifths.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So we've got D. What's the next one? It's actually sort of D sharp, isn't it? Well, we've got a D sharp, don't we? Well, we should maybe call that. Now, we'll put a D sharp.
Why not Virgo?
Well, we have 2 Ds, don't we?
Yeah.
We could think of it as E flat, but then we're going to have an E natural. So somehow we're going to have to, figure it out. I mean, somehow we'll have to account for it. And so after the D, would be A. We have no A, and then there's E natural, right? We do have an E.
Yeah.
So we'll put the E there, and then we have B is no B, right? And is there an F?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's an F. So we'll put the F here. I'm just putting them in, and then we have what else are we missing? We're missing C sharp. So we'll put.
Oh shit. C sharp.
That'll look a little bit better. Yeah. So now we have C sharp. Hmm?
Should be using surveillance.
That's true. This is bugging me. Okay, so that's the first chord we have, which is in essence. So it's what do we call that? Well,
C demolished.
Let's see demolished. Okay, well, let's keep going. So now we've got C, we've got no G, we've got we've got C sharp. So it's going to be a similar chord. You know, it's going to be similar, but it's going to be built on C sharp. So we've got a D, we've got our D natural, right? And we've got D sharp, right? And we've got our F. We've got C natural this time, and we've got E. D, we've got no A, right? We've got an E, right? So we'll we've got an F. We've got F, we've got C natural, we've got F, we've got D sharp,
D natural.
D sharp.
And D natural.
Right, we got D natural on the bottom.
The bass.
Yeah, and then we've got F natural. Well, I got two Fs. It's not right. 1, 2. What am I? I'm missing a C natural.
C sharp.
Yeah, C natural.
C sharp.
That I've got a C.
Yeah, but
I got the
C-
C natural.
Yeah, you need a C sharp.
So that should be C sharp.
Who picked this one?
Sibelius.
Doug.
Yeah, I keep hitting the wrong button.
Yeah, well, you gotta come back with a sonata for the next,
Yeah, right.
our next result.
Right. Okay, so
We don't have an F sharp in it.
no, we got F natural. We got F natural.
There's no F sharp.
There is no F.
There's no F sharp. It's F natural. So I mean that chord is basically. It's a beautiful chord. Who picked this one? Yeah, very nice. Okay, so now we've got D sharp. We've got what do we come next? We got no A. We've got E. Right. We've got an F, we've got a C, we've got a F, we've got a C, G, we've got a D natural, and then we've got a C sharp, right?
Yeah, C sharp.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's a beautiful chord. All right, so the E, we've got we have no B, we've got F natural. C. Then we got no G, we've got a D, and we've got a C sharp, right? And then we've got a D sharp.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of dissonance here, huh? So this might be one we would throw out. Perhaps. We've got we've got a C natural. We've got a D. We've got no A. We've got an E. We've got a C sharp. natural. No, we have F natural. What are we missing here? D
sharp?
D sharp.
Right, but then go back to the original?
All right. Well,
Yeah,
how are we going to think of this? You know, how are we going to analyze this? Which would be our. We have a C. We got C major. We got C major 9. We got C major minor, right? We got C. We got C major third, and we've got a +9, right? And we've got an F, so we've got like a sus, or we've got an 11, and we've got the C sharp, so we've got flat 9 and +9. And we've got what else? And a D natural 2.
D sharp, right? D sharp.
D sharp.
Is that what's happening?
Yeah. Okay, so that's wild. Okay, so that's a.
That's Doug Wild.
Now the C sharp chord. Yeah, we've got C sharp. Boy, oh boy, what do we have here? We got C sharp minor, right? C sharp minor.
Do we have 2 D's in the C sharp one? Looks like we
2
have
D's on the C
D's.
sharp.
Looks like we have 2 D's in it.
Yeah, well, yeah, the sharp is holding over. Harp is holding over.
Okay.
Yeah, harp is holding over. I don't know what the hell we're going to call that one.
Minor third and major.
Minor major. We've got a +9, right? We've got a C sharp +9.
Norman, there's a request to magnify it, just one more.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes, everybody see this beautiful thing. But I missed this.
It's a love theme from Planet of the Apes.
So D, we've got D minor, right? We've got D and F with a 9. Right? We got M plus major 7. We got minor major, right? So we got minor major with a 9, and we've got a. What else we got here? We got a. And we got a. Right, we got that guy in there. So and we've got and a D sharp too. Cool. So it's a minor major, I guess, sort of a minor major 7th chord. The D sharp, boy, we've got D sharp.
Should be C sharp on top of there, right?
Yeah, that's a C natural. That should be C sharp. Yeah. Well, no, this is C nat. Yeah.
The bottom one's C sharp. Oh.
Whoa.
That's cool.
Doesn't like this one. Computer does not like this chord. I'm sorry. When you see that, you know you're in trouble. The computer gods go against your hex. It's a good, move to erase that one. All right, so we've got. I think of it as E flat, really. For me, E flat, the major 7th, right? So we've got 13, a flat 9, a 9. So we got E flat, or D sharp, F natural, a D. We got a major 7. We got that much, right? We got an F natural. We've got a C, a 13, and we've got a C sharp. It's sort of a minor. It's got a minor and a major 7th in it. It's a cluster. It's a cluster. The next one, yeah. This is what you get with 6 notes of chromatic scale.
So the darker the scene you're writing for, the more.
Yes, this would be a dark scene. Yeah. This would be a pitch black scene. And then so the E, we've got E7.
And a major 7.
And a major 7, and a flat 13, and a flat 9. and of 13, right? So we don't have a lot. And then, not a lot to work with here, I'm afraid. F, though, F, we've got a major fifth, so that's nice. We've got the major seventh. We've got F. We've got that. We've got F, we've got C, we've got E, we've got a D, and we've got so we've got a major third, a major seventh, and a minor seventh. But this is the closest to tonality, really. I think there's no third, but we've got that, you know, and then we've got the D, you know, so that's like a 13, and then we've got the flat 13 as well. And we got the D sharp too. So we've got this top. You know, we leave this part off probably.
Sunday in the park with
Well, you know, so what does that tell us? You know. New hex. Yes.
Could you also just look for chords you like within the group of notes?
Yes. Yeah. Right. You don't have to use all of the notes. You know. I mean, you know, we could say that we have, you know, a C9. Right. We've got C9. The first chord is C, D flat, or D. You know, with an F. So or let's say you like, you know, this sound. You know, the +9. C, E flat, C, E natural, and a D sharp or an E flat. So we've got that in there. So we don't have to use the rest of the notes. You know, you could just use that as a basis, and then, you know, and then say to yourself, okay, and then I like the D minor with the. It's tough. It's tough, this one. It's a little tough.
Norman, could you just take this hex? Oh, sorry. Could you just take this and like plug it into your piece? Say that we'll use this, and you take your exact piece of music and just switch everything around. And here, just use the rhythms.
Can I do that?
Well, I mean,
could one?
One would, yeah.
Oh, yeah, one could.
I mean,
yes,
because once
sure.
you got one that works, then you could just switch the hexes to whatever.
Well, yeah, right. You don't have to stay with the same hex. You know, you can. The examples I showed you, we had one hexachord, right, throughout the whole piece, even modulation. I mean, you can use one hex, and then later on in the piece, you can change your hexes. You know, you can change completely the hex. You know, and then you have a half a dozen hexes. You know, I mean, there's countless, you know, combinations. There's, you know, so. You know, the best thing, I guess, is that, as you can see, now that's interesting. It is to take a chromatic scale, and this is what your chromatic scale gives us. You know, it gives us a lot of clusters. It doesn't really give us a lot of tonality. But hey, we didn't really need to do that to know that. Right. You know, I mean, chromatic scale, you know, 6 notes of a chromatic scale are going to be a lot of chromaticism. And well, let's do the interval count. We've got. Do we have to? We've got 1 half step, 2 half steps, 3 half steps, 4 half steps, 5 half steps. Okay, 5 half steps, 1 whole step, 2 whole steps, 3 whole steps, 4 whole steps. 5. What did I say? 5 half steps, 4 whole steps. Minor thirds, 1 minor third, 2 minor thirds, 3 minor thirds. Right. Fourths. 1/4, 1/4, F, that's about it. Tritone,
Fifth.
we don't have that, do we? We have E, C sharp, G.
Fifth, flat 6.
What's that?
Fifth, flat 6, just start taking them from the top.
Do you invert them and?
You don't point. Sixths or thirds, fourths or fifths, you know what I mean? So we have a lot of half steps and a lot of whole steps. So we have a lot of half steps, you know, so we know that, right? So if we modulate this by a half step, we're going to have a whole bunch of more half steps. We're going to have, you know, what do we have? What do we call it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so if we go up by a half step, we're going to have 5 common tones. Right? If we go up by a half step, we're going to have C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F and F sharp. F sharp will be the only one that we don't have. So it'll be one, you know, one new tone. Right? So this would all be common tones. All of these would be common tones, and we'd have an F sharp added.
And you'd never
So
hear
we'd
that.
lose this guy, we'd lose him, and we'd have a tritone difference. We'd lose C natural, and we'd gain F sharp. That's what you would really, you know, that's the way it would break down. Now, yeah, but hell, I mean, if you wrote this for brass, muted horns, you know, with timpani, you know, and piano, something, you know, that would be a pretty nice moody thing. You know, if you, but like John said, that then comes in is how do you do voice leading, and how do you make this so it makes some sort of sense. So it's, you know, one could have the C sharp here and the C natural here going to C sharp to D up to an E. So I mean, there's a beautiful line that's even in here with that. There's a line that goes in here. Like I say, when I put those in here, you saw me. I mean, finale, it's not beautiful for plugging it in that way, but you know, even common tones. Like if you had this, these are common tones, right? So these would sustain. If you went up the half step, you could have something interesting. You know, I mean, would it be, you know, something you write for your daughter's birthday? I don't think so.
I haven't met my daughter.
I haven't met your daughter, but still, you know, it would, you know, it would be something dark, but it would be probably something that you, some of this stuff you wouldn't come up with if you just sat down on the piano.
True.
I was just looking at getting rid of the C and making it a B, natural. Now that completely changes all your counts of intervals.
Yeah, this goes down to B.
Yeah.
Right, so then you have diminished triad, and you've got E with a B with a D, so you got, yeah.
You got a major third, and you got a triad.
Yeah.
Right.
It's amazing how you change one note, it makes such a difference.
Yeah, yeah, exactly right, yeah.
The intervals are like a whole different thing.
Right, then you have a B, you have a whole step here, and you have minor third,
Yep.
and you have major third, and you have a fourth, and you have a tritone.
Yeah.
Right.
Whoa. See,
45
suddenly it's more viable, right?
Yeah, it's more viable, right. All of a sudden, yeah, you could, right, you'd have a C major 7 here, wouldn't you? You'd have a C, E with a B natural, and a D. Oh, you got rid of the C.
we got rid of the C.
Got rid of the C. Got rid of the C. But yeah, you know, as I say,
You got E minor.
you gotta futz around with them. You know, I mean, you I had to, you know, when I was just learning it, I would write 4 or 5 of them sitting down, and there's all sorts of patterns in here. I mean, you can make a hex with every interval. You know, there's a hex with one major, you know, one half step, one major second, one major third, one minor third, one tritone, one fourth. I mean, there's that kind of hex in there too. So there's all sorts of you know, different worlds you can get out of this thing. You know, you can have you know, start with, say to yourself, well, let's say, like our friend was saying, you know, let's say you say, okay, I want, you know, C, G, and D. So you start with some nice tonality there. And then you say, well, what about the other 3 pitches? So I've got C, D, and G. I've got a whole step, and I've got a fifth, right? And so what else do I want to add? Then maybe I want to add E flat, right? And then do I want to add a B flat? Now I'm going kind of C7, or I want to add A natural. You know, that's sounding a little more like some diminished chords in there, F sharp. So you start to play with it, and then put it on the keyboard, play it on the piano or whatever instrument, do some entry, and then, like our friend over here was saying, then of course you can start doing some changing. You take the hexachord, and then you say, well, wait a minute, you know, right here, I have this line here, but I want this, you know, I want to go up to F natural, come down here like a little, you know, ornament or something like that, or I want to have a whole chromatic scale going against this. And that's the thing, you know, it took me a long time to realize that it's not a rule, you know, like, you know, you're in the army and you got to follow it. I mean, it's a path that you can use. So it's all idea is to be able to use some of this and put anything else you want along with it. If you want to use a hex and write a chromatic scale above it, you know, or write a hex like John Williams does. He has hexachords, he's got diminished scales, he's got tonal melody, you know, of some sort of sailor hymn going on at the same time, in the same cue, you know, just virtually going on at the same time. So there's a whole bunch of possibilities. So I hope that you get a chance to experiment around with it a little bit. Write for some ensembles. If that's what you have the time to do, and see what you come up with, because I think it can be really useful. And let me know. Now we're almost done, but I mean, I think on my handout, I have my Facebook, right? Let's be Facebook friends. And I have an app, right? It's on the App Store and the Android Store, and it's just, I don't know, it's just an app thing, but I mean, it's kind of a cool thing, I guess. I mean, like when I have a new book come out, I could send out push notifications and stuff like that. So I've enjoyed getting that thing organized. But I want to thank you. I'm sorry we didn't get the Brahms going. I'd never done that before, where I tried to tell Finale to start at a certain place, and it didn't work. So I apologize for that. But listen, thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. It's been a ball. And any questions? I mean, I'm going to be here. What do you want to? Should we take some questions, John? Or we have to be out of here by 5. So
yeah,
let's go to have a drink. How about that? We have to leave though.
Yeah, we can do that. Before I say the formal thank you to Norman, I forgot to mention at the beginning of this that this event is a very Canadian event. It's a co-sponsorship of Screen Composers Guild, Toronto Ravel, and the TMA. We're really happy that all 3 of our major music organizations are willing to get together.
You got the blue screen.
Yeah. You got a blue spot in your head there.
Yeah. Oh, we got
Blue man.
Really pleased that the 3 organizations do work together, and that's it. And a huge thank you to Ludwin.
Really, it's my home away from home coming up here. My wife's Canadian, so I can say that with honesty. And so really, I enjoyed it. It's really a ball coming up here and talking to everybody. It's so much interest, and so thanks. Thank you, John.
And thanks to all of you for coming. Thank you, sir.